Hello and welcome to our presentation today. This was a presentation that we did at the Legalex conference recently, and I'm delighted to share it with you now. My name is Tom Scarborough. I'm the CEO and founder of Movewise. We started working with homeowners to sell their properties over 3 years ago because I concluded that there was a better way to sell property. And more recently, we've developed our business to serve the probate market. So here we are today to present how we can streamline and help probate property processes, specifically everything that solicitors need to value, manage and sell property in one place to all over the country to significantly ease the burden on you and increase efficiency for your clients. Estate agents will commonly say that the 3 Ds are the greatest source of property sales. That's death, debt, and divorce. Today we'll be dealing with the first of those, death. So the estimate is that about 10% of all residential property on the market going through the probate process at one time. That's around 1 in 10. That's approximately 100,000 transactions per year. And selling probate property is more complex than selling regular homeowner residential property due to the unowned period whilst the property is in probate. And this brings a specific set of challenges to executors and solicitors, which we'll come on to. Specifically for executors, it's a significant hassle because before we even get into the property sale part of the process, the property will need to be valued for inheritance tax purposes. It may need to be insured if it's vacant. The contents may need an inventory done, possibly an auction, clearance of the property in preparation for sale, and they may even be required to do visits to the property whilst it's vacant for meter readings or other ad hoc tasks. And all of these things are being required to be done before the property even comes to market, at which point an estate agent has to be identified and negotiated with, and all of these are provided by different suppliers in different locations, resulting in a significant amount of administrative burden for an executor on an estate. And this hassle really is one of the main challenges in handling property during the probate process. This is compounded further by there being no national player across the UK who can deliver all of these services in one place. For any property anywhere in the UK. And this burden, here we show how the burden quickly starts to escalate for solicitors who are managing multiple estates at one time, particularly where the properties are in different locations. So here we've got multiple estates in different locations with multiple valuations, multiple insurance, all different providers for all these different requirements. So a huge administrative burden building up. And with 100,000 probate properties going through the process at any one time, you can see there'll be an enormous duplication of effort and time going on. And this is really where we at Movewise have adapted our solution to the probate market to solve this problem. Because what we're offering is a single point of contact for streamlining everything you have to do with a property during the probate process, from the start all the way through to the finish. And to do this, we have 2 particular services, which we'll discuss. The first is what I call our property services suite, which is every service that is required by a probate property. And secondly is our managed property sales offering, where we manage property sales through local estate agents anywhere in the country. These 2 services can be purchased independently of each other, and of course they can be taken together for the entire process to be managed by us or purchased through us. The first is our property services suite. So here an executor or solicitor can come to Movewise, and we have contracts in place with nationwide suppliers, typically where they exist, for all the different services that are required. So whether it's RICS valuations, inventory or clearance, visits to the property, key holding, vacant property insurance, and other services. All of these can be purchased through us for any property anywhere in the UK. And where the national supplier doesn't have reach, we will identify high quality local suppliers and provide the service through them. The benefits for solicitors and executors here is that there's a single point of contact at Movewise for all of your properties anywhere in the country, all of the services that are required. We've also been developing our quotation system for these services. So we now offer instant quotes on a number of these services, and are adding more and more, which means that you can provide a limited amount of information, such as the postcode of the property, and perhaps some basic details, and then we can provide instant quotes for all of these services with multiple different suppliers all in one place. Where these are then purchased through us, we create a single estate invoice with multiple services on it, on a line-by-line item. And finally, for solicitors, we also offer payment on account. So the services can be ordered through us, and they can be paid when the service is delivered, rather than upfront, as a number of these suppliers require. And that's particularly beneficial for perhaps estates where there's less funds available. Typically, what we've seen with these services is that with these local players, they will require often for them to quote, they will require 2 days warning, a visit to the property. So here, what we're doing is we're creating this single point of contact with instant quotes. Produced all in one place for you, independent of location and independent of supplier. Next, the core service of ours is managed property sales, which is what we started off doing at the inception of the business. Again, executors or solicitors can come to Movewise, where we represent a single point of contact, and we identify the best estate agents to sell that particular property by looking at our estate agent database and the activity of the agents in that price range and the performance of them, so we can really hone in the selection of agents. Typically, what we see, and historically, the traditional way of selling property is to choose a local agent, which is frankly a bit of potluck. And then if the agent can't sell it after 6 or 8 weeks, they're probably turning around and asking you for a price reduction. We don't believe that that's a good way of selling property. We don't believe that you need to choose agents by luck, particularly if it's in an area where you're not familiar. And so for that, we collect data, and we use data to analyze the performance of the agents and then interview them. And secondly, in terms of price reductions, these are not instantly required. Where one agent has been unable to sell the property for a short period of time, if you refresh the agent and bring in some fresh applicants and some fresh energy, the property sale will go through much quicker without a price reduction. So again, here Movewise offers we can offer a single contract, so clients will contract with us. It's one terms and conditions with no exclusivities, no tie-ins, and then we'll subcontract any estate agent anywhere in the UK, so access to all 7,000 agents. We don't have deals in place with these agents in advance. We simply negotiate terms with them and work on that basis. Another benefit of this is where we're managing multiple transactions for a single solicitor. You have one point of contact, where we can provide a weekly update to you of the performance, the viewings and the feedback on all of the properties that you have on the market and what needs to be done about them. And where appropriate, we'll communicate with the end executor or end beneficiaries too. Managing a property sale in this way, which is what we call a sequentially managed property sale, is really the best way for beneficiaries to maximize the proceeds from their property sale and avoid being forced into early price reductions. This chart here is a little snapshot of our internal data analytics tool. So when clients come to us, they will provide us with a property address, and perhaps either we'll estimate it or they'll have an estimate of the value. And then we will we can filter our database to analyse the performance of the estate agents in that area. We typically look at the volume of properties they have on the market, what they've sold in the last 6 months, what they failed to sell in the last 6 months, and then we'll rank them in terms of performance. And this will show us really who the most active agents are in any one area, who's likely to have the most applicants, and who's actually doing a good job of getting these transactions over the line. And this will differ in area by price range. You may have one agent that's focused on lower value properties and one that specializes in higher value properties. But this will really hone in exactly who is performing well within perhaps a mile of that property and has that local volume of business, local volume of applicants that's required to really deliver a high quality sales process. Once we've agreed a marketing proposal, or we've agreed to proceed with the client, we will typically interview the top 3 agents. So we have a team of ex-estate agents, so they know exactly how to interview these agents and determine what these agents can offer for this property sale, what can be expected. And we can then provide to you and your clients listing and strategy advice based on the feedback from the 3 agents. And that again is independent. Of course, the local agents will be trying to win the business. So they often will overestimate or etc., whereas you can get consistent high quality advice from us. We use the local agents to value the property for the listing in the normal way that you would for any residential property. They'll have that local knowledge, they'll know what's sold around the corner, they'll know the difference between the local streets. And that's typically the best way of determining the listing valuation. Once we've agreed the agents to proceed with, the preferred agents, and during that process when we're interviewing them, we also negotiate fees with them, and we'll feed that back. For all properties selling through Movewise takes the photos and floor plans. We use a high quality marketing company on a nationwide basis called Nichecom. And the reason we do that is twofold. Firstly, it ensures that all properties selling anywhere in the country with any estate agent get high quality marketing photos. So for example, in some more regional areas where there's much smaller agents, they might often be using their iPhone, and the photos will be much lower quality. Some agents won't invest in it at all. Whereas here we ensure that all properties get great photos independent of price. We can do the 3D tours where required too. And we then, the second reason for taking them is we provide them to the agents and we give them to the agent for free. And the reason we do that is if the first agent is unable to sell the property, it means that we can immediately bring in another estate agent by giving them the photos and allowing them to list the property and get on with it. On a weekly basis, we collect viewing numbers, so the volume of viewings that the property has had, and the feedback from the viewings, and we collate that in a single place again for all properties that will be with us at one point, and we can share that with you. So as a solicitor managing multiple sales, you can have one weekly call where we can cover off the performance of all the properties that you have with us. And again, we can communicate directly with the underlying client where required, and provide advice on what to do. So some sales where perhaps advice around offers received, or advice around changing an agent, speeding up the process, or reducing the price. In most traditional estate agency processes, people will be, over 90% of them, 95% of them, sellers will be entering into an exclusive contract, typically a 12-week exclusivity period, some are longer. We don't do that. So clients sign with us. Our terms and conditions are very, very favorable. They're cancelable at any time. And then we subcontract the underlying estate agents, which means you as a solicitor are never needing to review different estate agents' terms and conditions. You're not needing to sign them or send them out. You can review ours once, and then they're signed digitally by you or your clients. And in that process, we'll review the performance of the agents, and under our contract, where an agent is performing poorly, we can remove them. We can cancel their sub-agency agreement, and we can bring in a new agent, which is a fresh pair of eyes, fresh applicants, fresh energy, and revitalize the process. And this results in less price reduction being required in the typical sales process. Finally, once the agent has found a buyer and an offer has been agreed, Our team will manage the process, the sales progression all the way through to the end. Sales progression is typically done quite well on high value properties by premium agents, and it's often not done at all on lower value properties. Whereas we will deliver on all properties. Typically the fall through rate on sales progression is around 30%. So we'll reduce this significantly by managing it and make sure things get done faster and over the line. This which saves significant time for you and your client, clearly. The result here is that by coming to a single place and ordering all services and having everything in one place, there's significantly less hassle for solicitors all across the country for all different types of service. We not just on the services, but also on the property sales, especially where properties are not in the area local to the solicitor's firm. All of the services that we provide for solicitors and for corporate clients can be funded on account, which makes the whole purchase process much more simple and certainly helps where perhaps funds are a bit more limited on the account. For your clients, they will realise greater proceeds on average from property transactions that are executed through us, through our managed property sales solution, and on average they'll complete much faster as well. On this slide, this chart looks to show the difference between properties sold in the traditional manner on the market versus properties sold with Movewise in terms of the frequency of price reductions in completed transactions. What we see here is that the blue line is the average market rate and the green bars are Movewise's performance. So what you can see in sort of month 1 and month 2, which is the early stages of the sale process, Movewise looks pretty similar to the local agents in terms of price reduction rates. And the reason for that is because we start with a single agent, and here if the property sells quickly, it typically doesn't require a price reduction. As soon as we get after month 3, the average property sold by the average estate agent in the UK is more than 50% likely to have had its price reduced, whereas a Movewise transaction is less than a third likely to have its price reduced. These numbers are also, frankly, rather flattering to the local agents. And the reason for that is because the blue lines are local traditional agents. Local agents will typically sell on average around 60% of what they list, perhaps 2/3 of what they list with a good wind. Whereas Movewise sells 80 to 90% of what it lists. So if those local agents were on a like-for-like basis with us, selling the same proportion of their listings as we do, their price reductions would likely be higher. So these blue bars would actually be higher still. So much less price reductions with Movewise than on the same transactions than with local estate agents, single local estate agents. So to summarize the benefits in terms of numbers for you and your clients, the major saving is the hassle reduction. So here we're taking workload off you. We typically see that for transactions where multiple services are being ordered, we might that's possibly up to 4 hours of administration and coordination. And for property sales itself, where they're managed properly and where the agent's being followed up with and chased in a tightly managed process, we might see 20 to 30 hours worth of time on a single property transaction. At Movewise, we've built a lot of systems to optimize and make this much more efficient. We've digitized a lot of this, which is why we can do all these things much faster and more efficiently than those handling them manually. And we need to do that because we're handling high volumes of these. Second of all, we'll provide data-backed insight. So we're not no one's picking agents by luck nor by a panel. We collect over 1 million data points a day off property portals, and we use these to analyze and see who's active and see who's doing a good job in the area relevant to the property. We'll provide much better communication. The automatic collection of feedback on a weekly basis from the local agents means that we can communicate very simply with you or your clients how the property transactions are doing, what can be done about it, and that rather than just being left in a bit of a vacuum once the property is listed. And finally, clients using Movewise will make more money selling their properties on average than where they're self-managed in a traditional sole agency manner, approximately 3% on average, due to the reduced frequency of price reductions. Testimonial from one of our clients: Movewise provide the all-encompassing role of dealing with property management, reducing the time, cost and hassle so that I can focus on other areas. And this is typically what we want to offer solicitors. We want to provide all of the solutions that you can on the property side. We have a team of ex-estate agents who've been doing this for a long time. It's their speciality. And we work with all these suppliers to deliver an efficient service so that you can get on with advising clients on legal matters and leave us to deal with the admin on the property side. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation through to here today. At the end of the presentation at Legalex, I, of course, ask questions to the audience. And the most frequent question which comes up is typically around fees. People are a little confused as to whether using Movewise results in a greater fee, particularly on the property sales side. And the answer to that is no, it unequivocally is around the same. What we see on average, it is approximate, using Movewise to manage a property sale for you is approximately the same as going direct to a local agent. And the reason for that is twofold, really. It's firstly because we're able to negotiate very good rates off them, and secondly, we can offer repeat business to those clients, optimizing the process for them. Thank you very much for listening to the presentation today, and please do get in touch on tom.s@movewise.co.uk if you have any further questions. Thank you.